Hi, welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. Well, I'm actually recording in the morning today, so excuse the morning voice. It seems to be coming and going between being a little bit croaky and not. Uh, and it's a strange morning. It's quite warm, which hence the short sleeves, and it's been a warm week. So it is quite nice over here in the shed. But I think it's just started to rain, even though there's absolutely no rain actually on like the radar or the forecast. Super weird. Anyway, a little bit of rain's not a bad thing. And I think the temperature might be dropping now. Thank goodness I did actually bring a coat because the sky looked very dark when I walked over here. Not like me. Normally I forget and get stuck over here in the pouring rain. So, yay, that's a win for me for today. With the sheep out here using the extra grass, I took the opportunity to do some work on their normal paddock. So just locked them in this little bit for a couple of days, plenty of grass, and I had a little tub of water in there, so they were fine. So I did a perimeter check of the fence, because they all love to push on the fence, and we've seen many occasions where that's happened before. And I checked on the trees that are in there, and they're doing incredibly well, starting to actually get some height on them. Definitely not ready to have their protection taken away. And it's quite funny. You can see how far they can reach their heads in, and there's no grass in that area, like completely flat. And then all of a sudden, just around where the trees are, grass. So I got in there and I trimmed that grass down and sort of threw some of it like back out over the barrier so it can be eaten by the sheep. And then took their bale of hay that's been in there for a while and that they've eaten down quite a bit, and put most of that into their shelter now for bedding and for a bit of food under cover there. And some of the really matted up thick parts of that I put on to the around the trees where I'd cut the grass down to provide some mulch and a bit of protection to hopefully provide some moisture for those trees, because it is so dry as soon as you get anywhere down into the ground, and it's sort of almost cracking, but green grass on top. So it's sort of like this, and I know people have talked about it being a green drought. So we're getting dew and a little bit of rain, and it's making things really green. But as soon as you get below the surface of the ground, it is rock hard and things are just not growing quite as they should. An example of that is our front paddock. Um, we cut hay on it last year. It was really good, and our other paddocks are doing all right. The ones that are sort of more down where there's more runoff of water, but that front paddock is just really patchy and not growing very well. So we probably won't end up cutting hay from it this year, and I think that's partly to do with that whole green drought. And what was I talking about? Sheep. Um, so yeah, we mulched down around the trees and then brought in a fresh bale of hay for them, so that they will eat that as well as continuing to eat the grass. And now I've got them in both areas for a little while, and then I will close off out here that little extra bit again and probably water it as well. As I said, we're not getting a ton of rain, and hope that I can get that to grow some more over this period as well. Also, I had broken one of the baths that we had in there for them, for water. Well, not really broken, but to provide, like, seal it up. You put like silicone in the plug hole. I can't even speak. And then that's how you kind of fill it up with water. Now, what this one had on it was it still had part of the pipe underneath, and I had tried to maneuver it to get it a bit flatter, and I had cracked that pipe and it made a leak in it. So I'd filled it up this tub, came back, and it was completely empty. I'm like, oh well. So took that out, cut the pipe off, resealed it all with silicone, which has now been sitting outside, like sort of sideways up, so that it had an opportunity to dry and not crack or anything. And so then I'll be able to now put it back in to the paddock, refill that, and have it right by the fence, so that I can really easily, with just one length of hose, just throw that over the fence and refill really easily. The problem with the other bath, well, it's a problem and it's also a good thing. So it is further into the paddock. So in order to reach it, I have to use 2 lengths of hose, and it's a real pain because you've got to like walk the hose in, go back, turn on the pump, go back, make sure it's doing its thing, leave it forever long, and bring it all the way back out of the paddock again. So having it right by the fence is super easy because you can just like drop it over and it only requires 1 length of hose. But the benefit of having the tub in the paddock is that it is right next to their shelter, and we've got a gutter running off that. So when it rains, it gets all of the rainwater off the roof of the shelter in there as well. So it fills up reasonably quickly when we actually get some rain. So having both options is really great and provides them with a stack of water. And now that's going to be sorted out going into the warm weather, which is really good. As I said, it is a bit warm this morning, but I think now it's getting cold. Um, so I'm wearing my Daybreak tee by Destiny Mayer, and I knit this at the start of this year out of a recycled denim cotton yarn that I'd bought in South Australia on my Unwind cruise in 2023. And it was a great use of this cotton because I wasn't sure how far it would go, but this is a great size tee. And I think I actually have enough of this yarn to make a similar sort of top as well, which is really great. It's really like comfy and soft. It sort of feels kind of t-shirty. So I'd like to find some more yarn like this. Oh, I've got a end sticking out. We need to cut that, huh? I want to find some more yarn like this because they make really great summer tops, even though this is an 8-ply. When you've got like the lace work at the top here, so you've got a little bit of breathing, I guess, but nice short sleeves, good length, and yeah, it sits really nicely, and it was not too hard or long to actually knit up. So I think I'm starting to think, and I'll talk a little bit about this in creative life, I'm starting to think about the next projects that might go on the needles, and something along this kind of line is probably where I am thinking, because this is a really great top. I might even make some others because as you can see, it is quite a nice sort of dressy kind of like, it's not like a plain knit. There's a little bit of detail, which is quite nice. I did do some dyeing this week, quite a lot of sock yarn. I'm trying to get ahead and well prepared for the All About Fibre and Yarn Christmas market, which is on the 7th of December. I want to try and get quite a lot of colours done and batches of things that I know are popular, but also to get a few different new things out, sort of into that Christmassy and summer vibe. So I did all of cut these colours this week. You can see I was in a little bit of there's a bit of a pattern there, I guess, with the colours, and they all do, I think, go really nicely together. Some new ones and some old ones that have been around for a little while. So this is a new one that I've done. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but there's that one. I'm just going to throw them over here somewhere. I did some lilac. This is the new green that I had dyed up on wispy lace, and some of these, like the lilac and this one, I've particularly dyed to match with the wispy lace that I've previously dyed. So there's that, which I think I'm going to call leaf or moss or something. I haven't quite decided yet. This is Storm. This is another new one. I was just trying a bit of a different kind of technique, and I'll see what I decide to do with that one. This is the same as the grape that I dyed up on the wispy lace. I've got Dusty Rose because everybody loves a pink. And Princess of Pink because I really do love this pink, and I love how it looks with like the browny gold color. So another batch of that as well. So yeah, so I decided that I needed to do some more mostly solid colors to go with the wispy lace that I'd already dyed. So now I've got most of those colors on DK sock and lace. And then how I'm gonna display those. I'm not sure whether I should put them all together, whether I should have them on separate stands in the different weights. So that'll be part of my planning as I move forward. Once I feel like I've got most of my stuff done, how I'm going to display it at the Christmas market, as well as making sure that I have a really nice Christmas stall as well. Like, because I've got my Christmas yarn from this year, the 4 different mini skeins, as well as the full skein of Bright and Merry. I also have a little bit of my Dancing Sugar Plums from last year, and I'm working on an idea, and I'm not going to quite share it here yet because I'm still kind of getting through the details, but I'm thinking of a little kit that I could put together that is kind of Christmas themed, that might be fun to, make some little decorations or garlands or something like that. So that is in the works. I'm thinking about that. So I've got a couple of ideas for some smaller sort of kits, make your own kind of things that I can put together that will use some of my yarn, that can be either something that you could gift to someone or something that you could do to make a little bit of Christmas craft for yourself. When I have ironed that all out and I have something to show you, I will probably preview it just before the All About Fibre and Yarn Market, because that will be the place where I will have it available for the first time. So my next batch of yarn will probably be a little bit more variegated, just in some of those fun, bright colours that I know everyone kind of gravitates to. And then I will probably lay everything out, get my stall sort of set up and figure out where the gaps are and what I might need to get done right near the end. I mentioned this last week, but exciting news, I have some of my yarn in the Craftlandia store in Dalesford. So if you're in the area, go to their Facebook page and check when they are open. They have sit and knit times and classes, and it'd be a great opportunity to pop in and see my yarn, as well as some other really creative and wonderful people. I know that Cat and Sparrow has some things in there. Santa & Co has her patterns. Tea Time Yarn Retreats has stitch markers and things like that. The Knitting Man Recommends yarn is in there, and I think Feel Good Yarns have some things in there as well. Hopefully I haven't missed anybody, but I know for sure that those people are involved, and they are expanding their range of local and indie dyed and like handcrafted things that are going to be in there. So that's really exciting. The other thing is on the 24th of November, I will be doing a toe-up sock class there. So look on their website and register for that. The details will be in the link below. I'm looking forward to teaching a sock class. It's been a little while since I have, and yeah, it's fun to be able to share my love of sock knitting with other people. And very soon I'll be talking about my current sock project. So as I said, my sock project is still very much on the go, but a long way from being finished. So this is the one that I showed you last week, where I had redone the whole sock because it was a bit wonky and wide and not quite right. And I then ripped out the other wrong one, and I have worked it up to almost using, you can just see this yarn wrapped around here, almost using all of the yarn that I had previously used. So it's slightly kinky, but the way I tension my yarn, it doesn't come out too badly once I'm actually knitting with it. So I haven't bothered to wash it or do anything. I'm just going to block the socks when I finish, and any little crinkly bits will work themselves out again. So I'm almost at the point where these are the same. Just dropped things on the floor. So yeah, only a few rows, and then I'll be back to being the same on both of these, and then I can continue working up the foot. So I think I'm about halfway through the foot. So this is the template that I'm using, which is my nephew's big size 14 feet. And last week I talked about how I'd messed up the template, but then someone in the comments asked, they said, so this is looks like it's anatomically correct. Do you have a template of the other foot, or do you just flip this one over? And I'm actually not knitting anatomically correct socks on this, and I did reply to her comment last week, but I thought I'd talk about it a little bit more here. So, as I said, I'm not knitting these anatomically correct. All I'm doing is when you put it over the template, those increases just kind of mold to the shape of your foot, and then you have like a little bit extra here, but that's the piece of your foot where your toe is. It's a bit more fleshy, so it needs that little bit of extra to be able to fit the width of your foot as well as the length. So I haven't done any different increases on either side. I have made anatomically correct socks before, and that means that you increase out more on one side than the other to really mold to the shape of the person's foot. And in that case, I would literally just flip over the template to use the other side. Or because it's only going to end up being one, like half a round different, I would just maybe even just pop the heel in the other side. So you don't really need to flip it back and forth. It doesn't make that much difference. You can just knit it one way. There's really not, until you get to the heel, there really isn't a left foot and a right foot in that instance. So yeah, but if I was doing it anatomically correct, I would do less increases on this side and I would do more increases on this side, and it would be like a rounded bit rather than sort of sticking out a little bit on one side. But I don't mind the sticking out because you can kind of, as I said, once you have it on your foot, it kind of molds to the shape. So yeah, it's definitely possible to do, but not something I am doing on this one. I'm feeling a little bit like I'm being boring at the moment because I'm really only knitting on those two things, the socks and my little love that I'm about to show you, which is why I was saying I'm starting to think about the next thing that I want to cast on, and what I would like to be working on. There are plenty of whips sitting in tubs and bags and baskets, and I have done a whip video this year, so you can go back and see some of those ones that are just languishing at the moment. And in my head, I don't think I actually want to go back to any of those. I'm thinking that I want to cast on a couple of brand new things. I haven't knit a shawl in a really long time, so I'm thinking maybe a shawl. And crazily, I'm thinking maybe even the latest Stephen West MCal shawl, the Go Go Dynamo. I have seen some really amazing versions of that, and I really like it. I like it a lot more than some of his other MCals from the last few years, and I've never done one, and I'm a bit hesitant to do them until I actually see what the whole thing looks like. And the whole just being two colors and maybe adding in some mohair does really appeal to me. And I think I could probably find things in my stash that I could use for that. And it would use up quite a good amount of a couple of colors of stash yarn. So I'm thinking maybe that, but I think that's mostly because I'm seeing so many of them at the moment, and that's what's influencing my decision. What I actually am really thinking is a couple more tops like this. As I said, it's getting into that warmer weather. I want to be able to wear hand knits across warmer weather as well. This is really comfortable and great. The Yellow Brick Rodeo that I wore last week is another really nice example of a short sleeve top that I love and wear. So I want to find a few of those sort of staple pieces that I can make and look different with different colored yarns, and be able to find some that are really comfortable and repeatable, and not look like you're necessarily wearing the same top over and over. I mean, I do that. I mean, because a t-shirt is a t-shirt, right? And it's just what color it is, and if you put some extra design, or if it has a print on it, if you get one from the shops. So in terms of a knit item, it's exactly the same kind of thing. So I kind of want to find a bit of a uniform kind of summer knit top that I can make, either in like an 8-ply cotton or a 4-ply sock yarn. something that is going to be easy to wear on warm days. So that's where my head's at the moment. It's hard to do on Ravelry because they're all going into like autumn and winter. I know it is still reasonably warm at the moment over there, but that's people's heads are moving into that space. So you really, for me, it's going to have to be like a real deep dive search into what I'm looking for, doing some keyword filtering and searching in Ravelry. So maybe if I do get around to doing a bit of that search, I might pull up some of what I think are going to be my favorites to try and talk about those next week. So if you have any suggestions for short sleeve t-shirt tops that you really enjoy wearing and knitting, I'd love if you could share those below in the comments. Oh, and speaking of below in the comments, I probably will record my Q&A video in 2 weeks. And I do have some really great questions. If you've got any further questions, don't forget to pop those below as well. And then I can do those all together. So that is coming. Now to my little love. As I said, I feel like I'm just sharing the same couple of things, but that is what it is, right? And I'm not a hugely fast knitter, and at the moment I'm being reasonably monogamous, so that's what you get. So at the moment, I actually don't have it on the needles at all. I have one sleeve on a holder, but the body is completely done. So I have, from last week, I was here in the ribbing. I finished the ribbing. Oh, you can see there how different that color is. I finished the ribbing and I have done a tubular bind off, which I am really, really proud of. It took me forever. I probably should have timed myself, but it was like no, it was more than a whole afternoon. I sat over here in the shed in the sun, had some music going, and I just got into the rhythm of it. And yeah, it was, I find it tedious, especially because you've got that long piece of thread that you've got to pull all the way through every single time, and it gets all tangled. And I always end up pulling off way more yarn than I need. But the end result is just so good. And once you get into it, like it just looks like knitting, and it's so perfect. And it gives you just enough stretch. Looks like it's made in the shop or in a factory. And yeah, so I've done all of the bottom of that. You can see the short rows, how it's slightly longer at each side, and then just regular through the middle. If I do it like that, you can see there. And yeah, so now I'm about to start back on the sleeves. I'm going to continue this sleeve down until my elbow. I can probably then leave this attached and work on the other sleeve from the other end of the ball to the same length, put them both on a holder and try it on. I have tried it on for length now, and it's really perfect. I love it. So I'm really excited to continue working on this and to get it done, because I think it will actually make a really good throw on over the top, as it kind of gets cooler in the evenings, because it is a 4-ply. So it's not like a big, heavy, chunky thing that's going to be too hot. Yeah, so that is where I'm at. And as I'm getting to the end of this project, I mean, I know I still have like basically 2 sleeves to go, but I am, as I said, already thinking about what's next. So, and I always find that such a joyful time. I just need to continue to be joyful on this at the same time and not leave this, because I do really want to finish this one. I'm enjoying knitting it, and I really want the finished project. And I think that helps. And I think that's going to help with these tops as well. When I find the ones that I really want to make and wear, that it will be even if it's not a super quick project, it'll be a joyful project, and I will be enjoying to talk about it. And hopefully I can choose some yarn from my stash that is also quite joyful to work with, and that I'm happy to be able to move from on display in my cabinet to on display out in the world. So that is where I'm at with my crafting this week. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.